Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Meaningful Motivations with Tracy Erickson. And of course, if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracy Erickson, and today's spooky story is actually a local story, to me anyway, because it comes straight out of Des Moines, Iowa. This story is about the haunting of the Drake Municipal Observatory. I'm going to tell you guys all about it, so stay tuned. The Drake Municipal Observatory is a structure that is situated currently in Des Moines, Iowa at Waveland Golf Course. So this observatory sits between the 17th green and the 18th tee of the golf course. And this was built in the early 1900s because of Daniel Morehouse. According to an article in littlevillagemag.com, it says when Morehouse arrived at Drake in 1897 as a 21-year-old transfer student from a college in Minnesota, the university already had a small observatory. It was located in the tower atop the science hall, which was completed in 1891, only 10 years after Drake's founding. The observatory was largely idle in the first few years, but by the time that Daniel Morehouse enrolled, it had a telescope that was state-of-the-art for its day. Morehouse proved to be such an exceptional student while working on his bachelor degree that he was hired to teach physics and astronomy at Drake as soon as he graduated in 1900. So while Daniel Morehouse was still a college student, he was also beginning to teach for Drake University. So while he was trying to balance this teaching career with his student career, he was doing his studies at the University of Chicago, and he was at an observatory near Lake Geneva, where he actually discovered a new comet that had never been discovered before. And he tried to name it Comet C, but his colleagues insisted that they call it Comet Morehouse. When Daniel Morehouse finished his PhD education in 1914, he returned to Drake so that he could continue teaching full-time. And it was at that time that he was also named the Dean of Men. And he made such an outstanding administrator that he was the acting president in 1919 until he was given the full title in 1923. And then he was acting president of the university until his death in 1941. So as Morehouse's teaching career went on at Drake University, he realized that they had a real need for a new location and building for their observatory. While they had the state-of-the-art telescope, the neighborhood around Drake University was growing. There was a lot more light pollution. And not only that, the streetcars from the nearby streets would vibrate the walls of the observatory, causing issues with all of this state-of-the-art equipment. One night in 1900, while Daniel Morehouse was still a student at Drake University, he was taking a walk in a public park, and that's where he saw this perfect little knoll in the middle of the park that would serve as the perfect place to put an observation building or an observatory. And it was only 1 year after that walk where Daniel Morehouse saw this perfect location that the city turned that park into Waveland Golf Course. And this is where, according to the article in Little Village Mag, that it says that Morehouse negotiated a gentleman's agreement with Des Moines city government. The city would provide the land, build the observatory, and maintain the exterior of the building. Drake would provide the astronomical instruments, the staff, and offer educational public programming at the observatory. The building project cost the city approximately $53,000, the equivalent of $897,000 in today's dollars. After Daniel Morehouse's death in 1941, the interest in the astronomy courses at Drake actually faded. And it's almost like he brought this zest and enthusiasm to learning about it. But once he was gone, all of that enthusiasm for learning went with him. So, along with the enthusiasm for the classes fading, so did the exterior of the building. And after Morehouse's death, this gentleman's agreement again came up in question. And the city of Des Moines stated that they no longer had the budget to take care of the exterior of this building, even though it's still housed right there in the middle of Waveland Golf Course. So the Drake Municipal Observatory is still open today, but it really hasn't changed much since the 1920s. And so the exterior of the building needs a little bit of TLC, but in general, people can still come and observe the stars in much the same way Daniel Morehouse did. But there are some creepy haunted stories surrounding this observatory, which does happen quite often when buildings and one-time popular places begin to deteriorate. And right near the guest book, when you first walk into the observatory, you will see a sign on the wall indicating Daniel Morehouse's final resting place. His wife, too. That's right. Daniel Morehouse and his wife have their remains actually put into the wall of this Drake Municipal Observatory. So, of course, with the dilapidating conditions of this building, along with the fact that there are remains actually housed in the walls, have definitely fueled ghost stories over the years.
In the middle of the green of the Waveland Golf Course, the Drake Observatory has now stood for 100 years. As KCCI's Lauren Johnson shares with us, not only does the observatory offer a look at the stars, it may be a doorway to the supernatural.
For nearly 100 years, the Drake University Observatory has been Central Iowa's glimpse into the cosmos. The building is the brainchild of Dr. Daniel Morehouse, one of the first astronomers employed at the university. He rose to status by becoming an expert in comets.
He was the first one to see it. As a result, it was named after him. So Morehouse's comet basically propelled Daniel Morehouse into the forefront as a comet expert.
Morehouse went on to become president of the university in 1923. When he passed in 1941, his ashes were embedded into the observatory. When his wife passed in 1964, hers were too. And since then, some have claimed to have otherworldly experiences in the building.
We had one young gal who claims to be sensitive, and she says that occasionally she'll see an older man walking around here.
Kurt Schwartz is an adjunct professor for the university, and he claims to have had his own experience alone in the observatory. One night while he was working by himself in the basement, he heard someone come in.
The door opened because I felt the draft of the outside, again, February in Iowa, come down the stairs.
He called out, but no one answered. He went upstairs to look for the visitor, found himself standing there alone. He even went outside to check the snow for tracks, but there weren't any, only his.
So I don't know if I was visited or if it was just a figment of my imagination, but it seemed like somebody came here.
November 5th will mark 100 years for the structure, and the public is invited out to attend. Relatives of Morehouse will be in attendance, and Schwartz says if Morehouse is still roaming around, he'll extend an invite to the event to him, too.
I hope if it is Dr. Morehouse who's walking around here, I hope he's enjoying The fact that we have, people here on Fridays, and the fact that the place is going to be 100 years old. And if he is around, I hope he comes to the party.
So, is it haunted? Is it not haunted? That is the big question. But one thing is for certain is that a lot of people in the Des Moines area and people who are students and faculty at Drake University believe that it is in fact haunted. And they believe that it's not haunted by a random spirit or poltergeist. This observatory is haunted by none other than Daniel Morehouse himself. That's right, you heard it. Students and faculty alike agree that the Drake Municipal Observatory is a haunted site. In one article on the timesdelphic.com, it says here that the English professor Megan Brown stated that the ghost allegedly in residence there is the ghost of Daniel Morehouse. You may recognize the name from Morehouse dorm. He was the president of Drake from, I want to say, 1922 until he died, which was in 1941. He loved the observatory and pretty much lived there. He had a bed in the basement in his lab, and his remains were cremated and his ashes interred in the wall in the lobby area behind a bronze plaque. And in the article, it even has statements from a student who is going by Furman. And it says here, Furman said she was first told about the rumors when she began working in the observatory her freshman year, and then began having experiences shortly after. I first heard about the Drake Observatory ghost when I first began working there my freshman year at Drake. I have had some experiences with the ghost of Dr. Daniel Morehouse. However, there was nothing life-changing. I've seen a few things move places, lights turning on and off, and door locks acting up. Now, even before her experiences in the observatory, Furman says she's always believed in ghosts. I do not think I've ever believed in the type of ghost that could hurt me or do anything harmful to me, but I've always believed in ghosts in general, Furman said. There have been stories that have been passed down from when the observatory opened that have been told to me by Drake's staff and professors. So Furman does believe that it's the ghost of Morehouse who inhabits this observatory. However, she said she's always felt that it's a friendly spirit. I do believe that Dr. Daniel Morehouse watches over the observatory, Furman said. He was our founder and was known to love the building and astronomy very much. It has always been said that he's trying to be helpful to us and would only be haunting to those who came to the observatory with any ill intent. I believe that as a staff member, he always looked over us. Now, Megan Brown, the English professor, also agrees that the ghost of Morehouse seems to have good intentions, because she's quoted saying, I know of the story that the ghost of Daniel Morehouse, if indeed he is in residence at the observatory, is a friendly ghost. Now, beyond the ghost story, if you are interested in stargazing and learning about astronomy, then you can visit the Drake Municipal Observatory every Friday night. The lecture begins at 8 p.m. in spring, summer, and fall, every single Friday night, and it's open to the public, no reservations required. What do you guys think? Is the Drake Municipal Observatory haunted by the ghost of Daniel Morehouse? Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this story. Now, in my opinion, I don't find it strange that the energy or the ghost of Daniel Morehouse would stick around at such a place, because he basically dedicated his entire life to this structure. It's stated in many articles that not only did he love astronomy, but he's the one that made the deal to get this place erected and created, right? And then he's the one that taught here and studied here and had a cot in the basement he would sleep in. So his entire life was dedicated to not only astronomy itself, but to this structure here in Des Moines, Iowa at Waveland Golf Course. So to me, it's no wonder that he has left his energy imprint behind. So I don't know if it's just residual things, like a residual energy that kind of repeats itself, like, you know, an energy stamp of Daniel Morehouse, or if it's like an intelligent energy, like his actual spirit living there. So that's the one thing I'm really not too sure of at this point. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. So if you like this video, be sure to click that like button and share this video with all your friends out there. And of course, if you're a viewer but not yet a subscriber, I would love for you to click subscribe down below. And once you have subscribed, you can turn on that notifications bell if you would like to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time with me. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye. I just want to take a moment to tell you guys about Tracy's Apothecary. Tracy's Apothecary is my Etsy shop where I'm selling my handmade essential oil and crystal creations. All of the products from Tracy's Apothecary were created in a sacred space and with strong intentions. So if you want to check it out, go to tracysapothecary.etsy.com.